Tutorial Tuesday time. That was pretty good. Welcome back to another Tutorial Tuesday. Frank is down here sleeping. I bet if I pick up his ball, he might get up. Gone. Today's Tutorial Tuesday, I'm going to talk to you about how I use Ultrabeat to do my drum sampling. So let's dive into a Logic project, baby. Alright, this is just my normal Logic setup. We can get rid of everything else. I just want the Ultrabeat because that's what we're working with today. I'm going to open it up and we're going to take a peek at what this looks like. Here is Ultrabeat. This I have set up to be the drag and drop sample kit. You can see under here they have so many other drum kits. You can pick one that's already built. Takes a second to load. Great. Or we can go back. This kit is totally empty. A couple things we're going to want to notice. This right here is our master volume. So then this piano roll on the side is all of our available places to sample. Basically each of these obviously corresponds with a key on your MIDI keyboard, and each can have a different sample loaded in. Along each one you have a mute button, a solo button, panning, go left and right, and then the out. For our sake today, we're going to keep all of it on the main sub one out. The main thing we want to be concerned with is right here where it says no sample loaded, and we can load sample. Let's load a sample. So down here we're going to load a kick. Click load. We'll go to wherever you store your samples. Mine are on my external hard drive in my beat box. We'll find our kicks and just grab a kick we want. Great, that sounds great. Now it's crazy loud, so let's turn down the master. Still pretty loud. So over here, this is a knob we should pay attention to. That's the modulating volume. I think it's easier to use. You can also go up and down here and change your volume there. Once we have our sample loaded, there's a couple ways we can go in and manipulate it. Here we have a 2-band EQ, so you can have do some EQing actually within the plugin. We have both. Both can be a shelf or they can be an actual EQ. You can control the parameters of them here, what hertz it is, the decibel of it. We can also control the pitch. Around where it is. I'm going to get rid of some of those highs. Cool. For the sake of this, that's perfect. Let's load up a snare. If you haven't already looked up the MIDI mapping of drums, basically here's what it is, but you can Google it. Your kick is down here. Then above that, we usually have a rim or some sort of auxiliary snare. You have a secondary snare here. You usually have a clap. Then you have a third snare. This is our third snare. Obviously, these all vary from kit to kit. You usually have toms on all 4 of the white keys here. And then on the black keys above them, you have hi-hat. So you have closed hi-hat, usually a foot hi-hat, and then you have open hi-hat. Above that, we have our crash cymbal here, a ride cymbal here, and then all of these can really be any sort of auxiliary percussion, anything else. And then for Ultrabeat's sake, when we get all the way up here, which is above the B, which is the start of our 3rd octave right here, this in Ultrabeat, we're able to sample something and it automatically pitches it up the following octave. So it's great for an 808, it's great for any sort of pitched sample we might want to use within Ultrabeat. Cool, so let's go load a snare. I'm going to click on where I want to put my snare, click load sample. I like to have one finger on the actual key and then one finger on the up or down arrow so I can roll through them as fast as I can. Sounds great. Hit enter. Super loud again. We'll turn that down. You can turn it down here. You can turn it down over here. Maybe I'll throw a little EQ on it. Maybe I'll pitch it up a little higher. Playing in a little beat. So then we can go ahead and we could load up a hi-hat. There's sort of 2 ways I think about doing it. The first way would be go find all your samples, put them all on one kit in here. We have just our one finished Ultrabeat with all of our samples on it. I can duplicate that a bunch of times. You could say this one's going to be kick, this one's going to be snare, and this one's going to be hats. You could play each one individually. Right, record that, record in some snare, and then record in some hats. They could each have their own track then. The other way you can do it is basically the opposite. So instead of building our kit first, we would take an empty Ultrabeat, duplicate that a bunch of times. I'll go in there, and then I will sample on this one, I'll sample a kick, and then on this one I'll sample a snare, and then this one I'll sample hats, and I'll do that for everyone. I can play in a pattern. And now each has their own channel strip I can go through, and I can do their own EQing, put my own effects on it, and I can do anything I sort of want to make each one sound different rather than having to do it all inside Ultrabeat. The last thing I'm going to show you is what we can do with the pitched element of Ultrabeat. Let's say I have an 808 and I want to go and find that. Great, so now this is sampled here. And as I play higher up on the keyboard, it is actually pitching it up. So now I could have that pitched element. That is it for today. Make sure you guys hit me up in the comments with things you want me to do in future tutorials. And as always, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a beat.